Shocking truth. My 21-year-old son's devastating words on Dad's 92M will a California nightmare in a world where money is more than just currency. It can become a weapon, a curse, or even a trap. For Ryan, this truth hit hard the day he overheard his son, Jake, at a family dinner, casually slicing through years of hard work, sentiment, and love with a few devastating words. The tension hung in the air, heavy like a storm cloud just waiting to burst. As the chandelier above flickered ominously, Ryan's heart raced. Confusion washed over him like a tidal wave, his world spinning as Jake's innocent face twisted into something unrecognizable, a reflection of greed and betrayal. It all began one blistering afternoon in Malibu, where Ryan had come to collect the remnants of his once happy family gathering. The sun was setting, painting the skies in vibrant oranges and deep purples, yet Ryan's spirit plummeted lower with every second. A frail, old envelope slid onto the table, holding the infamous will, a document that could shatter lives. It was worth a staggering $92 million. But the specter of that wealth felt more like a gloom than a blessing. Suddenly whispers floated across the room, a low rumble that crescendoed into something louder and more violent. Dad doesn't care. It's his money, not ours. Henry, the family lawyer, stood frozen, his eyes darting between father and son. Each word spun from Jake's mouth was like a dagger, each one piercing the facade Ryan wore like armor. In that moment, Ryan felt a lump form in his throat, the tight grip of reality wrapping around his chest. Was this truly the kid he had raised, or someone who had been corrupted by the allure of wealth? The unthinkable question hung in the balance, threatening to tilt everything they had known toward chaos. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. A gust of wind swept through the open window, rattling the frames and stinging Ryan's skin as if awakening him from a disturbing dream. As Jake's smirk spread across his face, the atmosphere thickened, each tacky laugh ringing like a death knell in Ryan's ear. Was this confrontation about more than just money? Could it be rooted in envy, regret, or perhaps something deeper? The silence that followed weighed heavier than the ocean waves crashing below, an irretrievable moment frozen in time. A deadly calm engulfed the room, leaving only the sound of their racing hearts echoing in their minds. This was only the beginning. As Ryan stood at the crossroads of shocking revelation, he grappled with clawing doubts threatening to rip apart the fabric of their family. What did Jake truly want? What hidden intentions lurked beneath those charming words? As shadows began to creep across the walls, the real nightmare was only just surfacing. The weight of silence pressed on Ryan's chest, suffocating him, dragging him deeper into a chasm of dread. How could Jake say those things? Ryan's mind reeled, searching for answers in the faint flicker of the chandelier's light. It felt like a last dance before the darkness consumed everything. He looked at Henry, who was trembling slightly, his hands clutching the edge of the polished table. The lawyer's typical stoicism was gone, replaced by the raw emotions swirling in the room. Ryan could see the worry etched across his face. Henry had been part of their family for years. What did he see? What thoughts were racing through his mind that he couldn't voice? Jake, Ryan finally managed, his voice barely above a whisper. What are you even talking about? His heart raced as he attempted to pierce through the fog of betrayal clouding their connection. Jake shrugged, that smirk still plastered on his face, seemingly oblivious to the turmoil he had unleashed. It's not like you plan on giving us anything, Dad, he said casually, as if discussing the weather. You always act like you're giving us a favor just being around. Each word landed with a resounding thud, igniting a flame of anger deep within Ryan. How had they gone so far astray? He opened his mouth to respond, to reach out to the boy he once recognized, but nothing came out. Instead, he felt a burning pit in his stomach, a mix of outrage and heartbreak. Do you think money will magically fix our relationship? Ryan's voice rose, trembling with emotion. You think because I've worked hard to build something, it belongs to you as if it's an inheritance you deserve? Jake laughed, A harsh sound that echoed off the marble floors. You act like you're some kind of saint, but it's your money. It's my future, Dad. In that moment, Ryan felt like a lion cornered. He could either roar back or retreat. But retreating wouldn't do. His family was at stake, and if this was battle, he needed to win it. Want to know the truth? Ryan spoke, his voice steady but loaded with intensity. You may get your hands on that money, but in exchange you'll lose your morals. What use is a fortune if you lose who you are in the process? The challenge in the air thickened, transforming into a wall between father and son. Jake's face morphed as confusion, anger and defiance shifted through him like the rapid waves from the ocean far below. Meanwhile, Ryan could feel the time slipping, turning every second into a tick-tock of suspense echoing through his mind. Things are changing around here, Jake finally shot back, his voice cooler. I want to just sit back and wait for your charity while you preen on your wealth. I want what's mine and I'll fight for it. Henry's expression turned icy, a warning flickering in his eyes. This isn't the way to approach things, Jake, he cautioned. You need to think carefully about what you're saying. But the words landed on Jake like rain on stone. He was resolute, and attention hung in the air, a precursor to a storm that would shake their foundations. Suddenly, the front door creaked open, drawing all attention. Across the threshold stood a figure shrouded in shadows, their intentions cloaked in mystery. Was it another family member? A friend? Or something darker? Ryan's heart raced again, spiking with adrenaline as he turned to face the intruder, who was stepping into their tumultuous world, ready to unveil what nightmares awaited them. The room went still, the atmosphere thick like fog, as the answer approached. Would this newcomer shatter everything, or offer a lifeline in the darkest hour? The truth lingered just beyond the horizon. A figure stepped through the doorway, the silhouette backlit by the evening sun that now streamed in, casting long shadows across the marble floor. Ryan squinted, trying to make sense of the vague outline. A chill ran down his spine as the figure moved closer, illuminating features that sent a cold rush of dread washing over him. Gloria. Ryan breathed, recognizing the sharp features of his estranged sister. Her presence felt wrong, like a storm rolling in just as the sun came out. What are you doing here? Nice to see you too, Ryan, she tartly replied, her voice shattering the tense silence like glass breaking in an empty room. I hope I'm not interrupting something important. The smirk on her face mimicked Jake's, raising alarm bells in Ryan's mind. He had tried hard to push her out of his life after the mess with their parents' estate. She had always been about manipulation, using family ties for personal gain. He couldn't afford another family betrayal, especially not now. Jake's eyes widened, excitement flickering in them like the dying embers of a fire. So there's more of us for this little family reunion, huh? This just got interesting. Gloria crossed her arms, surveying the room, taking in the heat simmering between father and son. I saw the news, Jake. Your little rant made waves. I couldn't resist seeing the fallout for myself. Fallout? Ryan snapped, disbelief laced in his words. What has changed? You just coming in here to gloat? Not gloating, dear brother. Just making sure you're both prepared for what's coming next. Henry, who had been frozen in place, finally moved, putting a hand to his forehead like a teacher might do when faced with a particularly troublesome student. Gloria, this isn't the time for your games. There are serious issues at hand. Game? Oh, this is no game, she countered smoothly. We're talking family legacy, something that's been buried under secrets and lies. A muted tension enveloped them. What was she aiming to achieve? Ryan felt his heart hammering, anticipation churning in his stomach. Secrets? What are you talking about? Ryan challenged, but the words tasted stale on his tongue. The past had long been buried for a reason. Gloria laughed, a chilling sarcastic sound. You really don't know? Her eyes glinted with a mix of malice and amusement. Your whole life, Ryan, has been built on a foundation of shams. And now it's about to crumble. Jake leaned in closer, the challenge now directed at Ryan as if he were suddenly interested in the unfolding chaos. So what's the truth, sis? He asked eagerly, the faint scent of betrayal thickening the air around them. Let's just say that not everything is as it seems in your precious inheritance, Gloria said, her voice now low and conspiratorial, like she was sharing a scorched secret meant only for them. Especially who gets what when the time comes. Ryan's palms grew clammy. His breath hitched in his throat, How could she do this? A shroud of uncertainty fell over him, drowning out the anger, leaving only gut-wrenching fear. What are you implying? Oh, just that perhaps it might be worth your while to dig a little deeper into the family history, Ryan. There are shadows lurking and they have teeth. Her words hung like thick fog, suffocating and disorienting. The room felt as if it were spinning, hanging between past truths and overwhelming future possibilities where deceit could become a weapon more deadly than any argument they had just had. What do you mean, Gloria? Jake urged, eyes wide with intrigue. He was intoxicated by the drama unfolding, but Ryan felt his heart race for another reason. Gloria stepped forward, her lips curling into a thin smile. All I'm saying is, you might not want to fight for something you assumed was yours. As silence fell heavy in the room, the gravity of her statement sank in like a stone dropped into water, rippling outward, shifting the tension into something far more precarious. Ryan stared, the threat looming like a specter. What would it reveal? What had been left in the shadows? He could barely breathe as the darkness began to rise around them, and in that moment something shifted. The weight of family secrets loomed over them like a shadow that refused to fade. When all this settled, who would truly own the past? And what monsters awaited in the recesses of their legacy? The truth was still lurking, ready to pounce at any moment. The silence stretched taut, heavy and suffocating. Ryan's thoughts raced, colliding and crashing like waves against a rocky shore. Gloria's presence, charged with implications, hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. Tell us what you know. Henry's voice broke the silence, a mix of authority and desperation. Ryan sensed the cracks forming in his father's stoic facade. It was all unraveling, and Ryan could feel the grip of fear tightening around him. Why play coy? Gloria leaned back, the corners of her mouth twisting into a satisfied smirk. You two had the perfect little plan going, didn't you? But the truth is a wild beast, and trust me, it has its own appetite. Jake, still on the edge, shifted restlessly. Spill it already. We didn't call family therapy just to play board games. Gloria blinked, feigning surprise, watching them like a cat with caught prey. Maybe I was never meant to join the game at all. After all, secrets can cut deeper than any knife. Her chilling smile sent shivers down Ryan's spine. What could be lurking behind her words? He took a step closer, fists clenched. You've always been the manipulator. What do you really want? Gloria's eyes glinted dangerously. What I want? Perhaps I want justice from the betrayal I've endured. Or maybe I want a seat at the table where the real decisions are made. Her gaze flicked to Henry, and for the first time, Ryan saw a crack of uncertainty in his father's stoic bearing. Henry swallowed hard, probably realizing that his carefully crafted life was about to be laid bare. Stop. Enough of this. What secrets are you talking about? Ryan demanded, his voice cracking, a mixture of anger and fear. The past had been tidy, wrapped in a box, but she was unearthing everything. Let us just say your inheritance isn't the only thing you should be worried about. There are hidden layers to the family estate, ties to people you wouldn't believe. Say secrets that go back decades. Jake rolled his eyes, belittling her words, but Ryan felt the weight of them. You're bluffing, Gloria. There's nothing you can throw at us that we haven't already dealt with. Is that so? Maybe not all secrets are meant to die. Gloria leaned in closer, her tone dropping to a whisper that sent chills through Ryan's skin. Your adventure has only just begun, Ryan. When the dust settles, who are you really battling for? What's yours? Ryan's heart pounded. His entire reality teetered, threatening to spiral into chaos. What do you want from us? Just a little chaos, dear brother. She smiled faintly. And perhaps the chance to get what is rightfully mine. He felt a wave of nausea creeping up, like the ground beneath him was slipping away. Jake glanced at him nervously, his bravado waning as the air swirled around them, thickening with uncertainty and lush with consequences from decisions past. Enough with the games. If you have proof, show us. Jake's challenge felt weak despite his bravado, a feeble attempt to regain control, but Gloria's laughter cut sharply between them. You'll find what you seek if you dare look, she taunted, her voice low enough to make it sound conspiratorial. But remember, every secret has a way of buffering, and some may just bite back when you least expect it. Suddenly, Ryan's phone buzzed violently in his pocket, slicing through the tension like a sharp blade. He fished it out with trembling hands, the sudden intrusion anchoring him to reality. It was a message from an unrecognized number. The truth can be deadly. The words glared back at him, heavy with menace. His breath quickened, and a swell of panic clawed at his throat. As he looked back at Gloria, the rising tide of secrets and shadows swelled into something more sinister, bubbling just beneath the surface. A chill wrapped around him, and he could sense they were on the cusp of something catastrophic. What does that mean? Ryan's voice was a whisper now, barely escaping his lips, but inside he felt the knot of fear tighten like a vice. In that moment the stark reality hit him. The battle for their legacy wasn't just a family feud anymore. It was a countdown to a revelation that could shatter everything. Because deep down, Ryan knew if he pushed to unravel the truth, they might lose more than just their inheritance, they could lose each other and their lives. As the weight of the message settled in the room, Ryan's gut twisted with dread. What monstrosities lay entwined in their family's history? What price would they pay to uncover the truth? And then, like the first raindrops of an impending storm, uncertainty loomed ahead, leading to the question that would set everything ablaze. What if the revelation wasn't about money at all? What if it was about survival? The air in the room felt electric, thick with tension and fear. Ryan's heart raced as he locked eyes with Gloria, who sat across from him, reveling in the chaos she had ignited. Her expression was an unsettling mix of triumph and malice. "What are you hiding, Gloria?" Ryan demanded, his voice cracking under the weight of desperation. The message on his phone flashed in his mind, a reminder that the stakes were far higher than he'd ever imagined. Gloria leaned forward, drumming her fingers on the sleek surface of the table. "Oh, sweet Ryan, you really have no idea, do you? This family is built on the bones of its past. Every member has a role to play, and every secret has a purpose." Henry cleared his throat, trying to reclaim the authority he had lost. "You've always been a storyteller, Gloria. But today it's not a game or a fable. What are you talking about?" "Stories are what bind us," Gloria replied. "Every whisper, every deceit, it's all part of the narrative. You think you know your father? The truth is far darker than you could comprehend." Ryan felt the ceiling of certainty cave in, the walls closing in, trapping him in a suffocating reality. "What do you mean? What could possibly be darker than what we've already faced? Let us just say our family history is riddled with shadows you've both been fortunate enough to ignore until now." Her eyes sparkled with sadistic delight, and he could see her relishing the moment. "Sometimes the sins of the past return to ask for their due, and I'm afraid those debts are due." Jake, still fidgeting in his seat, finally spoke up. "Enough with the riddles. What exactly are you getting at?" Gloria's smile faded, replaced by a cool, knowing gaze. "The estate isn't just about the money. It never was. It's a vault of secrets. And those secrets want out. They can't be contained. They want to be ignored." "What do you mean?" Ryan's voice grew hoarse as he exchanged glances with Jake, who sported a pale complexion. "What are you trying to say about our family?" She leaned back, her body language relaxed and almost casual. "There are things you don't know about your parents, about this house, about every piece of furniture. Each has its stories, scars hidden beneath the surface. And trust me, it's not pretty." As the room started to spin, Ryan felt a wave of nausea wash over him. This was madness. "You're playing games with us, Gloria. If you know something, just spit it out. Or are you stalling for time?" Gloria's laughter echoed through the heavy silence. "No, darling. I want you to truly understand the game we're playing. Right now, I'm simply the messenger, or perhaps the catalyst." Ryan squeezed his eyes shut, fighting back the whirl of emotions, the fear, the anger, the confusion. The truth was unraveling piece by piece, and a gnawing unease twisted his insides. "Are you threatening us?" Jake's voice rose, breaking through the tension like a gunshot. "Not threatening," Gloria replied smoothly. "I'm merely revealing the truth. You can either embrace or resist it. But know this, if you resist a truth long buried, it will rise up like a vengeful ghost." "Well then," Ryan said, his voice steadier than he felt, "let us dig it up then. We need to know what we're really facing. Even if it means tearing apart every relationship in this room." Gloria shot back, her expression darkening. Ryan inhaled sharply, a chill creeping down his spine. The notion of exposing them all felt like setting fire to a house full of fragile memories. "We can handle the truth. Just show us what we're dealing with. With a flick of her wrist, Gloria retrieved a small worn envelope from her bag. You asked for proof. Here it is. As Ryan reached for it, the room seemed to hold its breath. The flickering candlelight cast elongated shadows, morphing the atmosphere into a realm of impending dread. The moment his fingers brushed against the envelope, a loud crash echoed from the back of the house, rattling the walls. What was that? Jake jumped to his feet, eyes wide with panic. Ryan turned, his heart racing as the sound shattered the tension in an instant. Felt as if an unseen force had just knocked on their door, an unwelcome visitor heralding the chaos to come. Maybe the ghosts are coming for you, after all, Gloria retorted, her voice laced with wicked amusement. As Ryan's heart sank further into fear, a single thought flashed through his mind. What had they just awakened? The crash came again, louder this time, as if the very foundation of the house had shuddered under the weight of something monstrous. Ryan's instincts screamed at him to corral the chaos, but panic gripped him. He wanted to believe it was just the house settling, or perhaps an errant branch slamming against the window, but deep down dread clawed at his core. What was that? Jake echoed again, anxiety twisting his voice. He took a step towards the doorway, his body taut and ready to spring. Stay here, Ryan barked, surprising himself at the forcefulness in his tone. He was not ready to face the darkness that loomed beyond. Gloria's smirk morphed into a wicked grin. It appears the ghosts are eager to reveal themselves, wouldn't you say? Aren't you curious to meet them? Cut the theatrics, Gloria. Henry snapped, his usual cool composure beginning to crack. This isn't a game. What do you know? More than you can imagine, she purred, reveling in the chaos. With a nod, Ryan stepped forward, every instinct urging him to investigate. The hallway was cloaked in shadows, where the flicker of candlelight barely penetrated. Each step felt like a mile, each breath weighed down by an unseen force. Ryan, wait! Jake called, but Ryan didn't look back. He was drawn forward, compelled by a mix of fear and a burning need to uncover the truth. As Ryan crossed the threshold into the hallway, the air turned cold, a chilling reminder that something was terribly wrong. Gloria! He yelled back, if you know something, say it now. Her laughter echoed back, chilling and hollow. You might not want to know what comes next, but it is your destiny to find out. Another crash reverberated through the house, and this time it came from the kitchen. Heart racing, he pressed on, adrenaline sharpening his focus. When he stepped into the kitchen, he was met with a horrifying sight. Chairs overturned, a table knocked askew, and the back door swinging wide open, eerily inviting. What happened here? Jake demanded, standing beside Ryan, his eyes darting around, frantic. Who's there? The timbre of Ryan's voice quaked in the tense silence. He could feel the weight of the house's history pressing down on him, urging him to flee. But curiosity anchored him in place. Without warning, a distant, hushed whisper echoed from deep within the shadows. It felt tangible, wrapping around him like a shroud. Ryan, did you hear that? Jake stuttered, eyes wide with fear. Yeah, Ryan breathed. The whisper was impossibly familiar, sending tendrils of dread coiling through him. The candlelight flickered, sending the kitchen into sudden darkness, swallowing their silhouettes. They stood paralyzed, a terrible truth dawning on them. This house wasn't just filled with memories, it was alive with stories, secrets clawing to escape. Ryan swallowed hard, heart pounding. What do you want? His voice shook but held an edge of defiance, and then, it came. A shadow darted across the kitchen and vanished in the blink of an eye. I think we should get out of here, Jake urged, looking pale, his voice barely above a whisper. No, Ryan said, voice steadying. We need to understand what we're dealing with. This madness can't go unanswered. Suddenly, the envelope Gloria had given him slid to the edge of the table, tantalizingly close. With a surge of determination, Ryan sprang forward, scooping it up just as a violent gust of wind slammed the back door shut, shaking the house. Gloria's voice drifted in from the shadows, smoky and sinister. The truth is just the beginning, Ryan. Open it and see what lies hidden. As Ryan hesitated with the envelope in hand, the whispers returned, louder, more insistent. Will you dare to confront your family's past? They seemed to question that in that moment, amid the chaos and dread. A part of him realized. They weren't just confronting secrets. They were unearthing horrors long buried. And if I open it? He challenged the shadows, trembling hands clutching the envelope tight. Then you'll learn whether you can face the ghosts of your family, or if they will swallow you whole. Holding his breath, Ryan ripped the envelope open, the contents spilling out like a hidden monster waiting to strike. What lay inside could change everything, but would it bring clarity, or just more chaos? The moment hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty and dread. Whatever was about to unfold would shatter their world one last time. As the envelope fell open, a cascade of yellowed papers tumbled onto the kitchen table, each one fluttering like the wings of trapped birds. Ryan's heart raced, a mix of thrill and terror coursing through him. He leaned closer, trembling as the smell of old ink and paper filled the air, a scent rich with secrets. Ryan, Jake whispered, his breath hitching. The shadows danced around them, flickering against the walls, as if urging them to witness this moment. What does it say? I don't know yet, Ryan replied, his voice barely above a hiss. He picked up the first piece of paper, his fingers brushing against the fragile surface. The handwriting was sharp, frantic. It felt personal, intimate. Sudden footsteps echoed from the hallway, sending a shiver down Ryan's spine. Did you hear that? Jake asked, eyes wide in panic. Keep your voice down. Ryan shot back, pressing a finger to his lips. He couldn't afford to lose focus. The urgency of the moment propelled him to read faster. The words blurred as he scrambled through the pages. It's about my grandfather and something he did, he murmured, his mind struggling to piece together the fragmented sentences. There are names here, names I don't recognize. Another crash sounded from the living room, rattling the walls and snapping Ryan's attention back to the present. We should really go, Jake insisted, his face pale. No, Ryan exclaimed, defiance sparking in his chest again. He had to understand, had to know if these revelations were connected to their current horror. This could explain everything. Everything. Or just make it worse. Jake shot back, fear lacing his words. The tension in his voice hung thick in the air. Just then a low guttural growl echoed from the hallway, freezing them both in place. It resonated through the walls like a heartbeat, primal and menacing. Whatever lived in this house was hungry, waiting to reveal itself. Did you hear that? Jake's voice trembled as he took a step back, eyes darting around. Yeah, Ryan whispered, the words barely escaping his throat as he felt a chill grip his spine. The kitchen lights flickered violently before plunging them into darkness, the shadows swallowing their bodies, their fear palpable. A sense of urgency pushed him to fumble about, clutching the papers in one hand while searching for a source of light with the other. Ryan's fingers brushed against something cold and metallic on the table, his father's old flashlight. With a quick maneuver he switched it on, the beam slicing through the dark. Facing Jake, he could see the terror written across his face. What do we do? Jake whispered, barely able to breathe. We find out what this is all about. Ryan's voice was steady, but he felt the tremor in his core. He turned back to the papers, illuminating a particular page that caught his eye. The words seemed to pulsate under the light. The pact must be fulfilled, blood must pay the price. What the hell does that mean? Jake asked, eyes wide with confusion and horror. I have no idea, Ryan replied, dread pooling in his stomach. But it sounds like it's about sacrifices. Suddenly, the whispering returned, confined voices echoing their names, threatening to drown out their rational thoughts. Ryan, Jake, make it stop. Jake shouted, his voice cracking under pressure. Ryan's hand shot out instinctively to grab Jake's arm, squeezing it tightly. Focus. We have to stick together. Whatever this is, it's linked to our family. We need to finish this. Just as he turned back to the papers, the flashlight flickered again, casting eerie shadows across their faces. The ominous growl echoed closer now, as if something just beyond their view was gathering its strength, lurking in the dark, waiting to pounce. With a desperate glance toward the hallway, Ryan felt the fear creep back in like icy fingers wrapping around his heart. The clock was ticking down, and whatever waited for them in the shadows was almost ready to strike. Let us get out of here, Jake urged, but Ryan shook his head, gripping the papers tightly. No, we're not leaving until we understand what we're up against. Whatever is going on here, it's bigger than us. The very air seemed to thicken with his resolve. He could feel it deep in his bones. These revelations were not random. They were a dark tapestry woven into the fabric of his family's history. But just as the thought settled in his mind, the lights burst back into life, illuminating the doorway. In that moment a silhouette emerged, something big and shadowy, blocking their escape, eyes glinting with primal hunger. "Leave now or pay with blood," the figure rasped in a voice that sent an icy shudder down Ryan's spine. As it stepped further into the light, dread filled his heart. The truth didn't just want to reveal itself. It wanted to consume them. What horror awaited them next? The shadow loomed larger, the figure's presence suffocating the air around them. Ryan's heart thundered like a drum beaten by unseen hands. Who are you?" Jake stammered, inching toward the wall as if it could protect him. "An echo of your family's past," the figure replied, its face obscured by darkness, save for two gleaming eyes, intelligent and cold. The voice sent a ripple of dread through Ryan, twisting his stomach. "Why are you here?" Ryan demanded, a shaky bravado lacing his words. He couldn't lose control now. Not when he was so close to uncovering the truth. "To remind you," it hissed, "that your bloodline carries a debt and it must be paid." The flashlight flickered again, straining against the darkness as Ryan's mind raced. What debt? What could his grandfather have done that would put him or Jake in the crosshairs of this thing? "Your grandfather made a choice," the figure continued, darkness swirling around it like thick smoke. "And now the descendants must fulfill the pact." "Pact?" Jake echoed, disbelief mingled with terror. "What kind of pact? What does it want?" Ryan's thoughts spiraled. His fingers tightened around the yellowed papers still clutched in his hand. "The papers, they mentioned blood," he murmured, heart racing as realization crashed over him. "It's connected to the sacrifices. Is this what?" "Enough," the figure growled, a low rumble that echoed through the kitchen, shaking the dishes in the cupboards. "You only delay the inevitable." A sudden crash in the living room splintered their attention. Fear clawed at Ryan's throat. "What was that?" he whispered urgently. "Something else," Jake breathed, his eyes wide and unblinking. "Something worse?" The figure took a step forward, and Ryan felt an instinctive urge to retreat, but fear anchored him in place. It was then he noticed a glimmer of something sharp in the figure's hand, an object resembling an ancient dagger, glistening with a sheen that seemed almost alive. "Choose your path wisely, boy," the figure said, lowering the dagger. "There will be no escape from what is owed." "What do you mean?" Ryan's voice shook, every syllable heavy with dread. "The blood must flow. Your choice will determine the fate of many," it warned, a malicious edge to its voice. Just then, a crash resonated louder than before, sending a jolt through the entire house. Whatever lurked outside the kitchen was growing restless, as if it sensed the fear hanging thick in the air. Ryan felt his pulse quicken, a primal fight or flight instinct roiling within him. "Ryan!" Jake yanked his arm, urging him to act. "We can't stay here. We've got to run." "We can't!" Ryan exclaimed, battling the pull of panic. "Not without knowing what it wants." The shadow shifted, as if it sensed the turmoil swirling inside Ryan's heart. "You may find your answers or your demise," it spat, before beginning to dissolve into the shadows, leaving a lingering chill in its wake. Just as it vanished, the lights flickered out again, plunging them into darkness. The ground beneath them trembled, a thunderous growl echoing closer. "Move!" Jake shouted, pulling Ryan toward the door. But Ryan hesitated, the weight of the papers in his hand a reminder of the legacy he had to confront. "We can't!" A guttural roar erupted from behind them, shaking the very foundation of the house, overpowering Ryan's will to stay. The choice was made for him as he felt Jake's grip tighten, propelling them both forward into the unknown. They burst through the door, hearts racing as chaos erupted around them. Amid the nightmarish street sounds, the wrestling shadows outside morphed into forms of terror, a cacophony of dread that echoed Ryan's deepest fears. What lay ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. They were irrevocably ensnared in a web woven by their ancestors, and it was time to face the dark legacy that awaited them. "Why is it coming after us?" Jake gasped, glancing over his shoulder, dread swimming in his eyes. Before Ryan could answer, a loud crash sounded from inside the house, followed by the metallic scent of blood wafting into the night air. The thrill of panic surged anew. "Whatever it is, we might not be the only ones in danger," Ryan breathed, heart racing as shrieks filled the night as the shadows behind them coalesced into something more tangible, He realized that their fight had only just begun. What new horrors lurked in the darkness, waiting to unveil their terrible secrets. They sprinted down the driveway, lungs burning with every gasping breath. Ryan's heart pounded, matching the heavy rhythm of his footfalls against the cracked pavement. As they raced toward the street, the oppressive weight of the night pressed down on them, mingling with fear. Jake kept glancing back, wide-eyed and trembling. "Did you see that?" Jake shouted, his voice tinged with panic. The darkness behind them felt alive, as if it was stretching out hands, ready to grab them. Ryan dared a look over his shoulder. A shadowy mass emerged from the doorway of the house, growing bigger and more alarming. Dark tendrils snaked out, curling and recoiling like the tentacles of some otherworldly beast. Ryan fought the urge to scream. "Run!" he yelled, pushing through the invisible wall of dread that threatened to freeze him in place. They darted past the cobblestone path leading to their neighbor's yard, the faint glow from nearby streetlights casting eerie shadows that danced at their heels. In the chaos, a distant wailing pierced the air, sending chills racing down Ryan's spine. "What if it's after us because of your grandfather?" Jake blurted, breathless. "What did he do?" "I don't know," Ryan gasped, shaken by the accusation. "But we need to figure it out before it's too late." The ground shook again, threatening to topple them. They stumbled, and Ryan caught himself against the rusty fence bordering his front yard. The air vibrated with the growl of something larger than just the house collapsing. It felt like the entire world was groaning in resistance. A scream erupted behind them, high-pitched and filled with agony. Ryan's stomach twisted. "We can't stop. Move." They turned down a narrow alley, the jagged bricks on either side closing in like the jaws of a trap. Echoes of slamming doors and frantic footsteps echoed in the still night. Panic rose within him as the realization that this was not just about them hit him hard. Each gasp inhaled uncertainty, each step stirred dread. "This way." Jake pointed toward a flickering street lamp at the far end of the alley. It cast a weak halo of light, a fragile refuge before the encroaching dark. As they neared the lamp, Ryan felt a sudden warm splash on his neck. He touched his fingertips to his skin, recoiling at the metallic scent of blood. It slid down freely, as if the night itself bled. "Is it?" Jake's voice trailed off, terror seeping into his words. "Just keep moving," Ryan urged, determination pouring into his steps despite the growing sense of dread. But fate rushed in, cruel and unforeseen. The light flickered, fading in and out like a dying heartbeat. Shadows surged forward as a ragged scream echoed from the depths of the alley. Faces, disfigured and horrified, materialized from the darkness. Figures caught in a nightmare held hostage to time. "Run!" Jake yelled, shoving Ryan forward while glancing back at the horrors stalking them. Just as they reached the lamp, a familiar face huddled in a corner caught Ryan's gaze. It was Mrs. Delaney, their elderly neighbor, her expression a fractured mixture of fear and recognition. "Help!" she cried, but Ryan could see that something monstrous hovered just behind her, waiting, biding its time. And that instant, a choice crystallized before Ryan. Save her, while the darkness loomed closer, or continue their escape. "No!" Jake shouted, but the decision surged through Ryan like electricity. "Hold on!" Ryan shouted back, rushing toward Mrs. Delaney before instinctively grabbing Jake's arm. "We can't leave her behind." He charged forward as the shadows lunged. The air crackled with danger and time seemed to slow. This was their moment. Their bloodline's legacy demanded a response. But as Ryan turned to rescue Mrs. Delaney, a deafening roar resonated from the depths of the alley, a sound unlike anything he had ever heard. It wrenched through him like a spear, freezing him in his tracks. What had they awakened? What debt would his bloodline demand? Would he have the strength to face it? The truth was unraveling, threatening to drag them all into the abyss. "Just move!" Jake screamed, pulling Ryan back toward the flickering light. And as shadows reached out, Ryan understood one thing: there was no turning back now. Whatever was coming had intensified. Would they confront the horror together or fall victim to the darkness within? Ryan's heart raced as he clutched the envelope tight against his chest, its weight heavy with the burden of family secrets. He could feel every thud reverberate in the hollow pit of his stomach, a painful reminder that time was not on their side. The presence of shadows loomed behind him, urging him forward into the unknown. He and Jake darted through the alley, breaths quick and ragged. "Can you see it?" Jake gasped, glancing back at the growing darkness stretching like a monstrous claw ready to ensnare them. The flickering street lamp was their only ally, its dim light barely illuminating their path through the chaos. "Not yet," Ryan barked, pushing himself harder. Each step felt like running through molasses, the air thick with fear. They needed to uncover the truth before whatever waited in the darkness caught up to them. Suddenly, the alley opened up into a small courtyard. The weight of dread hung heavy and thick, yet this place felt strangely familiar. Echoes of childhood laughter mingled with the cold night air. Musty cries of long-cast childhoods rang in his ears, transporting him back to simpler, innocent days. He desperately shook the memories aside, forcing his thoughts back to the grotesque reality looming over them. "Where now?" Jake asked, panting, his face pale. The shadows crept closer, almost alive, eager to devour the truth they harbored. They needed answers and fast. "There." Ryan pointed towards a crumbling brick wall, partially hidden by wild vines. "Let us check behind that." He pushed against the tangled greens, heart pounding with each rustle, praying to find anything that could swing the balance back in their favor. The bricks were weathered, ancient truths hidden behind them like treasure waiting to be revealed. As they pried their way into the space between the wall and the overgrown ivy, a faint glimmer caught Ryan's eye. Files scattered amid decades of neglect whispered secrets long buried. Digging deeper, he uncovered a box, its rusted hinges nearly as resistant as the ghosts of the past. "What is that?" Jake questioned, a hint of terror etched in his voice as he fought the shadows creeping behind them. "I don't know. But we have to find out." Ryan took a breath and opened it. A jumble of old photographs tumbled out, sepia-toned and covered in dust, depicting faces he vaguely recognized, family gatherings steeped in fraying emotion. One picture, however, commanded his attention. An ornate dinner table, a family gathered, but shadows loomed ominously, casting doubt over the joyful facade. "Look at this," Ryan breathed, showing Jake the picture. "Do you see those figures in the background?" "Yeah. They don't look right." The air twisted around them, thickening with fear. The murmur of shadows grew louder, eager and insistent. "Ryan," Jake urged, "we need to move." But Ryan couldn't turn away. The more he studied the pictures, the more he recognized recurring faces, familial ties stained with betrayal. The understanding washed over him like cold water. "This is our legacy. The darkness is tied to these people." Another scream echoed from the depths of the alley. It was closer now, desperation threading through the night, mixing with the chill dancing through his limbs. The shadows closed in tighter, circling like wolves, promising retribution. "Time to go." Jake tugged on Ryan's arm, urging him towards escape. Reluctantly, Ryan tucked the pictures back into the box. "We have to keep moving. There's something here that can help us. There's truth to be found before it's too late." As the shadows pressed against them, coaxing despair, Ryan felt determination coalesce like steel in his veins. "We can't run forever," Jake shouted, fear flaring in his eyes as they bolted down the path. "I know," Ryan snapped back, urgency heightening. "But we must uncover the truth before we pay the price." With each step, the air thickened and the shadows twisted, their forms becoming more defined and monstrous. A growl reverberated through the night, and the figures in the photographs began to flicker in Ryan's mind, a call to confront the family's haunted past. Suddenly, Ryan's feet slammed to a halt as the path forked. Left led to darkness where howls echoed like the wails of long-lost souls. The right opened onto a small park bathed in moonlight, an area they played in as children, memories both sweet and bitter. "Which way?" Jake cried, anxiety twisting his voice. "Right," Ryan yelled, but as he turned, the growling shadows struck faster than the flash of light. Their shadows materialized, billowing forth like a tide of despair. "Look out!" Jake pushed Ryan aside just as a clawed hand swiped at them. A grotesque monster formed from the darkness. "No!" Ryan shouted, leaping to confront the terrible apparition. "We can't let it take us. This is our family." Yet the shadows surged again, engulfing them. Ryan gritted his teeth, knowing if this masquerade of horror was to end, the past had to be faced. "I'll face you," he screamed into the darkness. "Whatever debt has risen, I will confront it." As light burst forth from his courage, the shadows hesitated, flickering like flames. Jake Ryan cast a glance back, determination bolstering his voice. Grab the box. We have to expose the truth and our family's sins. If we face this together, we can conquer it. Jake, although shaken, nodded, fear still evident but overshadowed by hope. Together they dashed toward the looming shadows as moonlight broke through, illuminating the path with a golden glow. In the end, it would not be just about survival, it would be about redemption. They would rise against the darkness, uncovering the truth they had buried. As they prepared for the confrontation ahead, one thing was clear. If they were going to reclaim their family, they had to cast every shadow aside. And with that, the battle for their legacy began. Now it's time for you to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and support the content you love. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. What did you think of the ending? Share your thoughts. And wait even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything. Don't miss out on what's coming next.